Happy morning to one and all. This is Nageswaran welcoming you to the English Year Learning Program. The first five stanzas of the poem titled Macavity, the Mystery Cat by T.S.Eliot were discussed in the previous episode. The remaining five stanzas are to be discussed in this part 2. Now, a short glimpse of the first five stanzas. T.S.Eliot describes the mysterious qualities of a cat of villainous character in his poem Macavity, the Mystery Cat. Macavity is a tall and thin cat who always commits crime. He never leaves any trace of evidence of his crime. So, the detective agencies Scotland Yard and Flying Squad are unable to arrest him. Macavity breaks the human law as well as the law of gravity. His brows are deeply lined with the thought of continuous planning of crime. Macavity has sunken eyes and his head is highly downed. He never combs his whiskers. He moves his head like a snake. The poem describes Macavity as a devil in a feline shape, that is, a cat's shape. With this, we entered the part 1. Let us switch over to the 6th stanza now. Here is the 6th stanza. He is outwardly respectable. They say he cheats at courts, and his footprints are not found in any file of Scotland Yards. And when the larder is looted, or the jewel case is rifled, or when the milk is missing, or another peak has been stifled. The term he refers to, Macavity, the mysterious cat, outwardly means in appearance. The poet says that Macavity is outwardly respectable, that is, his outward impression is respectable, because they say. The term they refers to the people who make rumors about Macavity. These people say that he cheats at courts, that is, Macavity cheats in a way that no one can discover. They talk about this habit of villain cat not as a blame but as a compliment. As this cat is very clever and cunning, he is respected by everyone. The fact that Macavity does cheat while playing cards indeed intensifies his unquenchable status in the underworld. Though he does many crimes, there is no file or record of his footprints in the hands of Scotland Yard, that is, the Scotland police officers. That is why the poet says his footprints are not found in any file of Scotland Yards. In the third line, the poet lists out all the crimes of Macavity and assures that despite trying cleverly, no police officer could trace out his dwelling place. That is why the poet says when the larder is looted. Larder means a cupboard. Loot means to steal. When the cupboard is stolen or the jewel case is rifled, rifled means ransack to steal. that is robbed, or when the milk is missing, or another pig. Pig is a small Chinese dog. He says another pig is stifled. Stifled means to suppress someone from acting. That means suffocated. That is suffering due to lack of oxygen, because the cat tries to kill the another pig by stifling, maybe by pressing the dog's throat in order to make it suffocate. Thus, the poet says another pig has been stifled. He continues to list out Macavity's crimes in the following stanza 2. Now, the stanza 7 begins. All the greenhouse glass is broken and the trellis past repair. Hey, that is the wonder of the thing. Macavity is not there. And when the foreign office find a treaty has gone astray, or the Admiralty lose some plans and drawings by the way. T.S.Eliot adds some more crimes of Macavity, such as breaking of the greenhouse glasses and trellis. Trellis are like the wooden bars used as a support for creepers or any kind of architecture. These crimes are usually committed by Macavity. But whatever the crime may, it is surprising that the cat does not leave any evidences of crime behind him, as if he were not present there. Now we could understand why the poet says there is the wonder of the thing, because Macavity will not be there as usual after committing crimes. Not only these, but also many, like when the foreign officer finds a treaty that has gone astray. Treaty means an agreement that has been signed or that is to be signed between two or more countries. Go astray is an idiom which means to become lost or to be stolen. When the officer from abroad finds a treaty that has been theft or the law broken, or the Admiralty, that means the police officers, especially the government department controlling the British Navy, that has lost some of its plans or drawings that contain some master plans to catch this Macavity. The poet says, surely Macavity will be the reason for all of these crimes. But the wonder of the thing is, Macavity will not remain any trace of his crimes. Right. Let's go to the stanza number 8 now. The stanza 8 begins thus. There may be a scrap of paper in the hall or on the stair, but it is useless to investigate. Macavity is not there. And when the loss has been disclosed, the Secret Service say it must have been Macavity, but he is a mile away. The poet here says that there may be a scrap of paper, that is a bit of paper in the hall or on the stair, that is on the steps, after the cat committing crimes. But it is useless and utter waste to investigate those crimes by using this scrap of paper as an evidence, because no one can arrest him, as it will vanish away in a fraction of a second. The poet also tells us that the secret service, like detective agencies, would say about the crime after having a thorough inspection and investigation when the loss has been disclosed, that is, revealed, that Macavity is the whole responsible for all those crimes. The poet also says it is useless, that is, investigating Macavity is useless, as Macavity is already a mile away, that means disappear at lightning speed. That is why the poet says it must have been Macavity, but he is a mile away. Next, stanza 9 comes. The 9th stanza goes like this: you will be sure to find him resting, or a licking of his thumbs, or engaged in doing complicated long division sums. Macavity, Macavity, there is no one like Macavity. There never was a cat of such deceitfulness and suavity. The poet here assures that definitely we will find Macavity when it takes rest, or when it licks his thumbs, or when it does some huge, difficult and complicated divisional sums, as it is engaged in doing this. Through doing this calculation, he plans himself when to start the next crime, and where to start it, and how to start it. So, surely there may be a chance of finding Macavity. Like in the earlier stanzas, T.S.Eliot repeats the same line here, that there is no one to be equaled to Macavity, as he has a unique quality. Because there was no cat like this Macavity which had the quality of such deceitfulness, that means cunningness, and suavity, that means confidence and sophistication in the past, that is, in the earlier days. Right, let us go to the last stanza now. Eventually, we are in the final stanza now. Let us discuss this too. He always has an alibi and one or two to spare. At whatever time the deed took place, Macavity wasn't there. And they say that all the cats whose wicked deeds are widely known, I might mention Mangogery, I might mention Griddlebone, are nothing more than agents for the cat who all the time just controls their operations. The Napoleon of crime. Alibi means a claim of evidence that one was elsewhere when a crime was committed. That is, some companions who accompany him in committing crime. Here, the poet tells that Macavity is not alone doing any crime. He always has an alibi here and there, and one or two to spare, that is, one or two other companions are there everywhere Macavity goes. So far, whatever the deed, that is action, here it means a crime. Whatever the crime that took place, Macavity wasn't found because he used an alibi. In the third line, the poet again uses the term they in order to mention the people who blame Macavity. These men say that all the cats are widely known as their deeds, that is crimes, or wicked, that is cunning and cruel. The cats mentioned here are Mangogery and Griddlebone. The poet says, I might mention Mangogery, I might mention Griddlemore. I refers to the poet T.S.Eliot. Mangogery and Griddlebone are the fictional characters specialized in petty, that is small or minor thefts and mischief, that is bad behavior that annoys others or doing any harm or injury to others. These two characters, that is these two fictional characters, are mentioned in T.S. Eliot's book titled Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Thus, the poet says that these two Mangogery and Griddlebone cats are nothing but the agents of the cat, that is Macavity. He says these two cats are the alibi of Macavity, who always controls the other two cats' operations, because Macavity is the Napoleon of crime, that is the commanding leader of criminals. Finally, the poet ends this poem by saying that Macavity is the Napoleon of crime. Macavity bravely commits crimes with the help of his two secret cat agencies named Mangogery and Griddlebone. Dear all, thus we have successfully completed the poem. Let us have a recapitulation of the last 5 stanzas now. The poet begins his 6th stanza by saying that Macavity is outwardly respectable, that is, he is respected by people, because some say that he cheats at courts, that is, he cheats in a way that no one can discover. His footprints are not found in any file of Scotland Yard. However, he commits every crime. Whenever he loots the larder, especially the food from the cupboard, or steals jewel or milk, or makes a pig dog stifle, that is suffocate, or breaks greenhouse glass or trellis, that is the wooden bars, he vanishes away quickly and is never found there. When the foreign officer finds a treaty gone astray, that is a law broken, or when the Admiralty, that is the British Navy, lose some plans and drawings by the way, that is find that their papers on which plans to catch Macavity are missing. They find them later on, but in the hall or on the stairs, but it is useless to investigate as Macavity vanishes away. When the loss is disclosed, that is revealed, the Secret Service would say that it was Macavity who did this. But now it is useless as he is already a mile away. One can find him either resting somewhere or licking his thumb or engaged in doing complicated long division sums, that is, doing some calculations. In the final stanza, the poet says that no one is like Macavity, as there can be no cat as deceitful and suave, that is confident and charming, as him. Next, the poet tells that he does not commit crime alone. He always has an alibi, that is, some companions who accompany him in committing crimes, and one or two to spare, that is, one or two other companions too. However, when the deed, that is, crime, takes place, he vanishes away as always. At last, the poet says that his companions are also well known because of their crimes. He mentions their names as well, Mangojery and Griddlebone. However, they are just agents for the cat who all the time, that is Macavity, they just control operations of the Napoleon of crime. Napoleon of crime is the name of Macavity. Right. After seeing figures of speech taken place in this poem, we can conclude this session. The figure of speech simile is used often in this poem. For example, the third line of the fourth stanza, he sways his head from side to side with movements like a snake. Here, the term like is used, so the figure of speech employed in this line is simile. Likewise, personification is often used in this poem. Wherever the cat Macavity is mentioned as a human by using the pronoun he or his, we can call it personification, especially in the following lines. For he is the master criminal, he has broken every human law, he breaks the law of gravity, his brow is deeply lined with thought, his head is highly downed, his coat is dusty from neglect, his whiskers are uncombed, he is outwardly respectable, he always has an alibi. Likewise, the figure of speech employed is personification. In the second line of the second stanza, the line tells that he has broken every human law, he breaks the law of gravity. Here, the figure of speech employed is hyperbole. Hyperbole is the use of exaggeration as a rhetorical device or figure of speech. It may be used to create a strong impression. It is an impossible thing to break the law of gravity in our earth, but the poet says Macavity breaks the law of gravity. That is why the figure of speech employed here is hyperbole. Next, the poet uses the line Macavity, there is no one like Macavity 3 times. So, the figure of speech employed here is repetition. And also, he uses the phrase I might mention twice. In the fourth line of the last stanza, I might mention Mangojery, I might mention Griddlebone. The poetic device used here is repetition. Dear viewers, with this we can wind up this session part 2. Any doubts regarding this poem can be asked anytime. Meet you soon. Thank you for watching.